Well, backlashes suck, so I'm going to walk you through one of the 3 ways that you can adjust the brakes on your baitcaster to avoid those backlashes, bird's nest, rat nest, whatever you call them. First, let's talk about why a backlash occurs. So the second that your lure leaves the end of your rod tip, it begins to slow down. It hits wind, it hits resistance, and eventually hits the water, stopping all together. Well, the problem is that your spool is continue to spin at a much faster rate than your line is slowing. And what happens, since that line has nowhere to go, it starts to fluff up and it creates that backlash. So to help you avoid getting that backlash, I'm going to show you how to adjust your spool tensioner knob, that guy right there, and when to adjust the spool tensioner knob to help you avoid getting those bad boys. So how your spool tensioner works is whenever you turn and click this clockwise, it provides pressure to the outside of your spindle. We were to take this apart and pull this out. This is what it would look like. Turn it to the right, it provides pressure on the outside of your spindle, causing friction, keeping your spool from spinning, creating that backlash. But if you know a thing or two about baitcasters, you also know that there's a secondary braking system on there. For this one, I can tell by looking on the outside, there's a magnetic brake system or mag brake system. As you can see there, you can kind of see the magnets inside. And on my Shimano SLX, if you open that up, I get a different type of braking system, which is centrifugal braking system, which I'll explain in another video. But it begs the question, why in the world do we need 2 braking systems on one baitcaster? Well, let me explain. The reason that you have 2 braking systems is because those braking systems are designed for different parts of your cast. So what I want you to do is I want you to divide your cast up from the second that it leaves you being 0 and the second that your lure hits the water being 100. If when you cast out your lure, when you start feathering and kind of feeling your line go out, if you notice that that line starts to fluff or starts to begin to rat nest within the first 70% of your cast, that's when you know you need to adjust your mag brakes or your centrifugal brakes. However, if you notice that lines start to fluff in the last 30% of your cast, that is when you need to adjust your spool tensioner knob. Now, since this is Baitcasters 101, I'm going to show you how to adjust your spool tensioner knob with the primary goal of avoiding backlashes. Just know that anytime you use any of your braking systems, you're going to be sacrificing distance and accuracy, which is not a problem at first because that is a lot more preferable than getting a rat nest cast after cast after cast. So how you adjust your spool tensioner knob is once you have the lure on the end of your line, go ahead and put your rod at a 45-degree angle and start adjusting your spool tensioner knob to where that line starts to slowly fall with the weight of the lure. And once that lure hits the ground, you should not see your spool spinning anymore because this is how backlashes occur. It's too loose and you need to tighten it up. Now keep in mind, anytime you change out a lure that has a different weight, you're going to want to readjust your spool tensioner knob. Also keep in mind that these braking systems are designed to be a safety net type of system, especially when you're learning and starting out on the baitcaster. The idea is that your thumb does what your braking systems are doing for you when you're learning the baitcaster. And a lot of times, I know a lot of guys, including myself, I barely use any of the braking systems that are built in on my baitcaster because I've educated my thumb over the years. Now, if you are interested in how the centrifugal brakes or those magnetic brakes work, well, I got another video for that and you can check them out right there.